my goodness. Hello,
Wow.
everybody.
Hey guys.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Everyone.
everyone. I can see you guys
hi.
flooding in. Wow, look
Hello.
at all our dinosaur enthusiasts that are flooding in. I am so
Yeah.
excited.
Future fossil experts in the making.
That's correct. Hi,
Oh.
everybody. Welcome, welcome. It's Fossil Day, and I am so excited. I'm Dino Dustin. I'm with Jurassic Quest. And if you don't know who Jurassic Quest is, we are a traveling dinosaur exhibit that holds over 165 million years worth of dinosaurs that move, that roar, and we have a lot of activities as well. You have chances to train dinosaurs there, to ride on dinosaurs, which is my favorite thing, and so many other cool activities. And we also have, guess what? Fossils. We have a fantastic fossil experience where you can learn about fossils and even maybe touch some real fossils. So it's one of my favorite things, and that's why we're celebrating today. And because you guys are celebrating Fossil Day with us, you'll get 25% off a ticket to Jurassic Quest. So if a parent is there with you, parents, I want you to go and know that that is available to you 25% off by using the code Fossil Day at JurassicQuest.com. Okay. So before we get into our dino facts and faves, I do want to let you know how this works. Okay. So we will be talking to you guys. We won't be able to hear you, but we sure can see you. So if we want to be able to see you, we want to interact with you. So a way that you can interact is by waving. You can use your T-Rex hands. In fact, can I see some of your T-Rex hands right now? Can y'all? I see them. Very, very good. That's a way that you can interact with us, and we'll be calling out to you throughout this time in this session. And so I definitely want you guys to do that when we're talking about these dinosaurs and these fun facts about them. All right, now I'm going to introduce you to some friends of mine. The first person I want to introduce you to is my good friend, Prehistoric Nick, who also has a really cool pal with him.
Thanks. So yeah, this here is my friend Cami the Camarasaurus, and Cami is a type of long-necked dinosaur. She's really, really sweet. And another friend of mine who has baby too is Safari Sarah.
Hey everybody, it's me, Safari Sarah, a dinosaur trainer from Jurassic Quest, and Tyson, come on. And this is baby Tyson, and we're really excited to be here today. And we're also joined with our other friend, Brainy Beth.
Hi guys, I'm Brainy Beth, and I'm one of the dinosaur trainers at Jurassic Quest. And you can come to Jurassic Quest and actually become a dinosaur trainer yourself as well. So be sure to do that. Be sure to check us out in any city near you. And I'm actually going to introduce my good friend. We're here in Chicago today, or the Chicago area. It's me and Dino Ranger Zelly.
Hello, you guys. I'm Extinction Zelly, and I am definitely one of the coolest dinosaur trainers currently in Chicago. But that being said, I'm not going to brag too much because I think I should show off another really cool person, Park Ranger Marty.
Hello, everyone. So Park Ranger Marty here. Happy Fossil Day to everyone. And what this is Facts and Faves, where we are going to talk about some of our favorite dinosaurs. Then we're going to talk about some of your favorite dinosaurs and let you ask questions about them. Now, as Dustin said, you guys are all muted, so we can't hear you. However, if you text your questions into the chat, we can definitely answer those. So be thinking about your questions, get ready to text them later on because we'll be more focused on them a little bit later in the time period. We're going to talk about our dinosaurs first, but later on in the confirmation thing, we're going to have a great time for you guys to also get your questions answered. Now, we're going to start off with my favorite dinosaur. Can anybody guess what my favorite dinosaur is? If you've seen any of my videos, and you can see those on Jurassic Quest all the time, like our Facebook page, the Fossil Friday and Science Sunday, I always talk about my favorite. Which dinosaur is it? That's right, it's Triceratops.
Good job, guys.
Oh.
Now, Triceratops is my favorite dinosaur. And so here's a little interesting fact about it. Now, you all know it has the horns probably and the shield, most likely for display, though his shield is actually solid, so it might be a little bit of a defensive thing. And the horns have keratin, which is what your fingernails are made out of. They have a layer of keratin on the outside to make them longer and sharper. But I'm going to talk about its teeth, because when you think about a Triceratops, you don't think about his teeth. All you see is that little beak in there. Does he even have teeth? Well, actually, he has more teeth than a T-Rex does. Yeah, Tyson, he's got more teeth than you. Now, your teeth are going to grow to be much larger, but whereas you might have somewhere as an adult between 50 to 60 teeth, that's for T-Rexes. We only have about 32. But for T-Rexes, they might have 50 to 60. Triceratops here has 160 showing. However, under each of those can be up to 4 more rows of teeth, which means this animal in its head can have up to somewhere between 430 and 800 teeth. That's a lot of teeth. Now, why does he have so many teeth? Well, Triceratops was eating very tough vegetation like ferns. And those teeth, the beak would break it off, and then the teeth would grind it up, but they would wear out those teeth quickly, so new teeth would keep popping up into place to replace those teeth. And that's a cool thing about most dinosaurs. They're all constantly replacing their teeth. We only get 2 sets of teeth. So once you get your adult teeth, you better take good care of them. You guys brush every night? You guys brushing? And every morning too? And after snacks? Yes, very important, very important. So we need to take care of our teeth. But T-Rex, he didn't have to take care of him too much because he's just going to grow a new one. Same thing for Triceratops. He's constantly going to grow new teeth. Now, that's my favorite, but I'm not the only person at Jurassic Quest that has favorite dinosaurs. In fact, there is another dinosaur expert at Jurassic Quest named Prehistoric Nick. Prehistoric Nick, can you tell us about your favorite dinosaur?
Thanks, Marty. So one of my favorite dinosaurs, the dinosaur that had a long crocodile-like snout, and it's a dinosaur that we call Baryonyx. And I have a picture of Baryonyx right here. So Baryonyx had a long crocodile-like snout and also had huge claws on its hands. Now, scientists for a while didn't really know why it had those claws until they discovered that inside the skeleton of the first one they ever discovered, there were a bunch of fish bones and fish scales inside of it. So that means that Baryonyx was a dinosaur that ate fish. Now, it was discovered in England in the 1980s. So this might be the first evidence of anybody in England ever eating fish and chips.
My Baryonyx likes fish too.
Oh, that's true.
Very big fish there.
It's such a big fish. Like
Mouthful.
Yep.
So Baryonyx's name means heavy claw because those really big arms are really great at catching fish out of the water. Now, another dinosaur I like a lot that I want to feature here is a dinosaur called Carnotaurus. And I have a Carnotaurus right here. So Carnotaurus is a dinosaur that had little tiny arms, but also had a very short snout. Yep, Park Ranger Marty's got a Carnotaurus there as well. So the name Carnotaurus means the meat-eating bull because of those horns of its eyes. So Carnotaurus is a dinosaur that was sort of the opposite of Baryonyx because it had really short arms and a really short snout, whereas Baryonyx had long arms and a really long snout. So that's something pretty cool. And if anybody wants to share their favorite dinosaurs, we can put that in the chat. So let's see. I know Brittany Beth has some favorite dinosaurs as well.
yes, that's right, Prehistoric Nick. So I have 2 favorites. But get this, one of them is actually not technically a dinosaur.
Ooh.
No way. I'm sorry. Okay, come on. But it is something that we have at Jurassic Quest, so you guys can come and see it as well as our other dinosaur friends.
What is it?
My 2 favorite prehistoric creatures, I should say, are both a little bit of a mystery, right? So we've got the Therizinosaurus, which, by the way, we know very little about, and I'm pretty sure Park Ranger Marty can display it. Yes, that's right. So it had the largest claws of any known animal, right? And get this, guys, we actually think, despite its fierce, huge claws, that it was an herbivore, because a lot like other ungulates, they think that it would actually grab the tree branches with its massive claws and drag it down to its mouth, right? but very little is actually known about this dinosaur. And we're still figuring things out whenever it comes to him. So he is, in essence, kind of a mystery man. But we also have the Megalodon shark at Jurassic Quest. Has anyone heard of the Megalodon shark?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so a lot of people are probably familiar with the Megalodon shark, right? So guys, get this. Something that I think interests me the most about the Megalodon, not only is it 50 feet long in our exhibit, but the actual Megalodon, barely any of it was discovered apart from its jaws, teeth, and select vertebrae. Can anyone think why we couldn't find the rest of a big shark like the Megalodon? Anybody?
I may know. I may know.
You might know. Okay, Safari Sarah, what do you think it is?
Is it because Megalodon didn't have bones?
That's right, Safari Sarah, and good job, everybody. So I can see that you guys have some similar answers as well. Thank you so much for answering. Yes, that's right. So the Megalodon in and of itself is something of a mystery, right? Because we've only found selective parts of it. So I'm not the only one, as we said before, who has some favorite dinosaurs that we would love to talk about in Jurassic Quest. But Extinction Zelly and I, we talk about our favorite dinosaurs all the time. So I'm actually going to turn it over to her to tell you guys about some of her favorite dinosaurs.
Hi, I am Extinction Zelly. Thank you so much, Brainy Beth. So just like you, one of my favorites is also not a dinosaur, but it's definitely a prehistoric creature. But before I get to that one, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys know of any modern day birds that are really big but can't fly? Make sure you type it down in the chat so we can try to see.
A bird that doesn't fly. And is it small or is it big?
It's big. I think I see a lot of
someone got it.
I see some,
Yeah,
people
I see some
typing
good
answers.
answers in there.
Yes, great
My
answers.
favorite dinosaur looks just like an ostrich, but slightly bigger, and it's called the Ornithomimus, and they could run up to 40 miles per hour, which is really, really fast. But my second favorite, he lives in the ocean and is the biggest type of mosasaur in the mosasaurus family, and he is called the Tylosaurus. Now, he's a lot more related to modern day lizards and snakes, so it was really cool because he could unhitch his jaw to eat his food. But that being said, I think you might be able to see a lot more of the Ornithomimus and the Tylosaurus on our TikTok, because since they are my favorite, I do like to post them as much as I can. And you can also definitely see them over at Jurassic Quest by looking in both of our lovely exhibits. But that being said, I know Dino Dustin really wants to show off what he really loves as well, so I'm going to pass it off to him.
I do. I'm so excited because one of my favorite dinosaurs is actually a buddy of ours. This dinosaur is so sweet and so cuddly. And you're like, why is he talking to it? Dinosaurs are extinct. But as you know, we have our baby dinosaurs, our friends that are with us. And mine is Camarasaurus. So Nick is holding Cammy, the Camarasaurus, which is our herbivore that we have at Jurassic Quest. She is so sweet. She's so kind. And I have some really cool facts about her. So Camarasauruses are the most commonly found sauropod in North America. And that means as fossils, as paleontologists, they've come across more Camarasauruses than any other sauropod, which is pretty incredible. So they have found over 121 different specimens that have been found. And what's interesting is we talked about this statistic last session, but it's a 1 in a billion chance that any creature becomes a fossil. So for that to happen so many times with Camarasauruses, I think that's pretty incredible.
Definitely.
Now, Dustin, when you were talking about sauropods. So if people don't know what that is, that's the long neck dinosaurs. So Camarasaurus is related to Brachiosaurus, like I have here. This actually is a better representation of a giraffe type, but it's supposed to be a Brachiosaurus. And so those are the long neck dinosaurs. Now, the most common fossil that we find pretty much are the hadrosaurs. And one of the most common ones that we find of that is Edmontosaurus from Edmonton, Canada. So actually, a paleontologist once said to me, he said, it seems like 1 out of every 20 fossils I find is not an Edmontosaurus.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
The next fact and fave that I have is from one of your favorite dinosaurs, I bet. It's a favorite for a lot of people. Can you guys guess what dinosaur I'm talking about? This one is kind of a king. Does anybody know? Can you write it in the chat? That's right. I can see T-Rex for sure. Can you guys show me your T-Rex hands? I love throwing those up. Yes, exactly. So right here, I have a cast of a 3D printed T-Rex skull. But what I want you to know about this T-Rex is that the skull, and this is not the actual size, this is a smaller model, a much, much smaller model of a T-Rex skull. But what's cool is paleontologists found that they have a large brain size. So they had large brains, and that would have helped them hunt better. Scientists believe that they had stereoscopic eyes that were both facing the same direction, which that is not usual. A lot of times, different dinosaurs had eyes that were pointing outwards. They can focus their eyes, and that would help it laser in and focus on prey and be able to see it better. So it helped with depth perception. So I thought that was pretty cool about T-Rex, because in a lot of movies, they show T-Rex kind of like someone that needs glasses, right? Who's kind of like, oh, if you don't move, we can't see. But paleontologists do not believe that was the case for this incredible creature.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good way to tell if an animal eats meat or not. One good way is their teeth, but also if their eyes are both pointing forward, then like you said, they have stereoscopic vision, which means they're focused towards the front. Whereas a lot of the plant-eating animals, their eyes are over on their side because they're watching out for predators. They want to cover as much space as they can with their eyes, but it's hard for them to focus. They can't see things right in front of them.
That's right. And now I want to pass it to someone who's holding one of my favorite T-Rexes, and that's Safari Sarah. What are your facts and faves, Safari Sarah?
Hey everybody. So I have T-Rex with me, obviously, but unfortunately, I'll just cover his ears for this part. He's not my favorite dinosaur. I'm sorry, I know, but I love Triceratops, just like Park Ranger Marty does. But my favorite dinosaur is actually a relative of Triceratops, although an ancestor. So it came before Triceratops came on the scene. It's very, very small. Can anyone guess what kind of dinosaur it is? It's kind of obscure, so you may not know it, but it starts with an A, and his name is Aquilops. Good job if you got it, because that dinosaur is very rare. And actually, a really cool fact about Aquilops is that only the skull has been found of this dinosaur. So we actually have a lot of theories and guesswork when it comes into the rest of this body. But a complete skull, I think, is the only thing that's been complete that we found of this guy. Now, he is an herbivore, and they ate things like shrubbery and grass and leaves. They actually didn't eat things like insects, which other smaller dinosaurs sometimes do. But they are ancestors of Triceratops, which I think is just so cool. And you can't tell how small he is, but he was actually about the size of a small rabbit. And that's why I love Aquilops, because even though I love Triceratops, Triceratops is huge, and I love things that are tiny and cute, which is why I love Aquilops. Now,
Sarah, you were talking about how we only have a skull. So when we don't have much of a dinosaur, sometimes we compare them to other dinosaurs that are similar. And one that we know of is called Psittacosaurus, which is also an early ceratopsian. And we've actually found whole nests of those animals. So we actually compare, we kind of fill in the blanks for Aquilops with Psittacosaurus.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Now, my other favorite dinosaur is called Giganotosaurus. And you guys may know him because he's a pretty big movie star right now. And in this movie, he's actually called Giganotosaurus. Now, it is debated, although most people, especially at Jurassic Quest, call him Giganotosaurus because we like to get jiggy with it. So that's what I call him, is Jig. And a lot of people like to pit Giganotosaurus against T-Rex. I know, right? It's kind of unfair. But the reason why is because it's so big. Now, some really cool things about this dinosaur, or funny things I would say, is that even though it's huge, it has a tiny brain. He had a very small brain, especially compared to the T-Rex in their respective sizes. But Giganotosaurus also lived 30 million years before the T-Rex came on the scene. Wow. And although T-Rex was the king of the dinosaurs because of that massive jaw and all the strength in his bites, Giganotosaurus was actually taller and a little bit longer than T-Rex was. And my favorite fact about Jig is the fact that he, unlike a lot of dinosaurs, was found by an amateur. That's right. He wasn't found by some paleontologist or some fancy professor. He was found by an amateur fossil collector, someone who just went out and searched for fossils, just like you and I could be, which is why I love talking about that so much. Now, Park Ranger Marty, would you like to take us back to another fact about dinosaurs?
I would. And actually, I want to talk about the Giganotosaurus that you actually saw in the movie. I've got a Lego of it here. And for some reason, they put this strange little hump thing on its back. And I was like, why would they do that? Well, he's in the same family as another dinosaur named Concavinator. And Concavinator actually is famous for having a little hump on the back of its back. And since they're in the same family, and I don't think they have that section of Giganotosaurus, they just like, well, maybe he had one too. So they just took an artistic license guess on it. Now, another dinosaur, and I actually saw that it was some of your favorites. And by the way, I'm going to tell you about my last favorite dinosaur, and then you guys get ready for your questions about your dinosaurs and get ready to type them into the chat. In fact, you can start typing them in right now as I'm talking about the last one. Now, the one I'm going to talk about, and all I have is this horrible representation of it, but it's Spinosaurus. And Nick is pulling up a much better version now. This is what we think Spinosaurus looks like now. And you can see the vast differences. And that's, we were reading a book earlier called Boy, Were We Wrong About Dinosaurs. And as we get new information, our picture of dinosaurs changes. So what I'm holding in my hand right here is what we originally thought this dinosaur looked like. All we really had were some of its vertebrae and that sail on its back. We knew it was a theropod. That's a dinosaur like an Allosaurus or a T-Rex, but we didn't exactly know how it stood. So at that time, all the theropods were standing up like in a kangaroo pose with their tail on the ground. And since it was a theropod, the only theropod heads we had were like Allosaurus and T-Rex. So we kind of gave it like a T-Rex looking head. Now we know it had a much longer crocodilian looking head, like a Baryonyx, like Nick's favorite. And also it wouldn't have been sounding like that. It'd be actually almost on all fours. It had smaller arms, might have been doing a little knuckle walking. And that tail now we know had big paddles on it for pushing it around. So even at Jurassic Quest, some of our Spinosaurus, because a lot of this information is very new, we have some older versions and then we have some newer versions of Spinosaurus. So you can actually see as we get new information at Jurassic Quest, we try to keep our dinosaurs as up to date as possible. But that's just our favorite dinosaurs. Now I want to ask you guys, what are your favorite dinosaurs and what are some things you want to know about your favorite dinosaurs? Oh, so I see some people talking about Allosaurus. Now, Allosaurus came way before T-Rex. You might have seen, like when I was a kid, I used to watch Land of the Lost, and they had a T-Rex and an Allosaurus all right there together. There's more distance between an Allosaurus and a T-Rex in time than there is between a T-Rex and us. So we are closer in time to a T-Rex than T-Rex is to Allosaurus.
And Allosaurus, did they live at the same time as Stegosaurus? Because I've always heard that example with Stego. So they lived at the same time? So
Stegosaurus, Allosaurus, Brontosaurus, Diplodocus, all of those were back there in the Jurassic time period. about 155 million years ago
Wow.
to the late Jurassic, almost to 145, where the Cretaceous actually starts. So those were towards the end of the Jurassic, and that's where we had some really big dinosaurs. Now, Allosaurus can almost get as large as a Spinosaurus, or as large as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. But it's though it is a theropod, a three-toed meat-eating dinosaur, it's actually a different type of dinosaur. It's in the Allosaur family. So some differences are they're lighter built than the Tyrannosaurs were, and also their teeth are sharp and serrated. So that's a slicing thing like a knife. Whereas T-Rex teeth, I've actually got a T-Rex tooth right here. Now most of this is the root, so you're only going to see this much, but you'll see it's very rounded. It's not super sharp. So that's a tooth designed for crushing bone. So that's a little difference between Allosaurus and T-Rex. I saw also somebody said Quetzalcoatlus. Now,
Oh yeah.
We love
Quetzalcoatlus.
Quetzalcoatlus.
Quetzalcoatlus is not technically a dinosaur. It's a relative. So before the time of the dinosaurs, there were things called archosaurs. And from archosaurs came pterosaurs like Quetzalcoatlus, dinosaurs like everybody's favorite T-Rex, and then crocodilians. So those are still on the planet today, pretty much unchanged mostly. But
Hey.
Quetzalcoatlus,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, I think maybe we could get a little crowd participation here. I could imagine what that dinosaur or archosaur, sorry, would sound like. Maybe like a little something like that. Do you think that everybody could maybe do the noise of a Quetzalcoatlus with us? Y'all all
that
want to
sounds
try?
fun. Yeah.
Okay, on three, let's
Fun.
all try to give a Quetzalcoatlus noise. 1, 2, 3. Good job, guys. That was really good.
So Quetzalcoatlus, they were actually talking about before, stood as tall as a giraffe when it's actually standing up and had a wingspan of around 36 feet. So it is the largest of the pterosaurs. And they actually think that this guy could fly. He had some little tendons in his arm that were kind of acting like a rubber band. So he would almost like launch himself up into the air on his arms enough that he could get his wings flapping and get himself up into the air.
Oh wow, that's like a whole giraffe flying through the air.
Yeah. Or a
Yes,
jet.
but fortunately, this one was built very lightly with hollow bones. So even though it was huge, it only weighed about 600 pounds. So with those big wings, pretty easy to get it up into the
So
air.
you don't think it could take any passengers?
No, probably not. I mean, maybe a couple animals that it catches in its mouth, it might help take along with it, but it's not a very pleasant flight.
That's true.
I saw somebody earlier said that their favorite was a velociraptor. So once again, mostly what you see in the movies, they make velociraptors way too large. They've got something like this, standing about 6 feet tall, when in actuality, they're about 6 feet long, which is a very different thing. Like there are iguanas that are 6 feet long. So,
And
and
we
these are
have-
much lower to the ground.
We have velociraptors at Jurassic Quest. So if you've ever come to Jurassic Quest, a lot of times when people come, they're so shocked to see a bunch of dinosaurs covered in feathers. And our velociraptor scene is not an exception to that. So we have several velociraptors and they're engaging with some protoceratops in a fight scene because of a very famous fossil that we know of called the fighting dinosaurs that has those two dinosaurs locked in battle with each other.
Yeah. And so we know that some dinosaurs definitely had like a dino fluff, kind of like you see a downy like feather like you see on chicks, like baby chicks. Have you ever seen that little yellow fluff that they have? Those are downy feathers. And we think some dinosaurs definitely had those. But in things like velociraptors, we're actually finding little marks on the bones on their forelimbs for quill knobs, which actually suggests that there were actually maybe some decorative feathers coming out of their arms for display. What are you? Don't eat the, Tyson, don't eat the fluffy chicken.
Don't.
Tyson.
Just like
that's-
this, right? Tyson,
Tyson,
it's a stuffed
that's
animal.
not a nugget.
So it's okay, but
Or-
this
or
is
not a
kind
real
of
one.
what he's talking about.
Oh my goodness. But yes,
So
that is the
Tyson.
Dino fluff I'm talking. No. Oh my goodness. He's gonna
What a
tear
little rascal.
So now in the movie, the animals that they said they modeled those after were Deinonychus, and we actually have Deinonychus at our show as well, which is a slightly larger raptor, or dromaeosaur, which is the technical name. At our show, we have the largest of the dromaeosaurs, which is Utah raptor, and you can actually learn how to train a Utah raptor at our walking dinosaur show. So that's a lot of fun. Has anybody gotten to do the show? Beth, you did the show, right?
Yes, and also Extinction Zelly. Both of us have done dinosaur training experiences because we are trained professionals, I can assure you. And whenever you come to Jurassic Quest, you can become a certified dinosaur trainer as well and join in the fun. So definitely come on down and check us out, and you'll learn a lot about Jojo and Diego. For instance, the fact that they did have feathers, as we've been talking about with a lot of our other dromaeosaur friends.
And maybe we should ask, has anybody come seen Jurassic Quest yet? Has anybody come to Jurassic Quest or trained a raptor before? Okay, well, parents, if you're out there right now, because of Fossil Day, we have 25% off of tickets if you use the code Fossil Day today to buy any tickets for upcoming shows. So make sure, parents, you go online to JurassicQuest.com so you can get those.
And also, if you don't see your city, we still have tons of activities that you can do on JurassicQuest.com. So you can check those out too. We have coloring sheets and a lot of other fun materials for you guys to continue to learn about these majestic animals.
Exactly. Or you could just follow us, right? Because Park Ranger Marty and Prehistoric Nick both upload super scientific and very educational videos. And we upload very fun and cute stuff with our dinosaurs on TikTok, Instagram, and on Facebook, all at Jurassic Quest. So even if you can't come out to the show, you can still follow along for all the learning and fun too. Oh
yeah, I actually had a lot of fun making those videos. In fact, in my last Science Sunday video, I was actually holding a baby alligator. Yeah, his name was Rascal. So I was holding him on my arm, and I was holding an actual alligator. So a little scary. I think his mouth was taped shut, so I was pretty safe.
And you know, alligators live in the swamps, right?
Yes, they like warm because they are ectothermic, which means they're cold-blooded. So they use the sun to heat their body to get them active. Now, dinosaur birds are endothermic, which means they're warm-blooded, and so they create their own body heat. And that's one of the reasons that small birds have feathers, because it helps hold that heat in. And that's one of the reasons we think we see feathers more in smaller animals, because they don't need, or they need the insulation, whereas the larger animals don't need the insulation as much.
Ooh.
But there is a debate that some dinosaurs might have actually been somewhere in the middle, which is mesothermic.
Nice.
So if you're kind of endothermic and kind of exothermic.
Now someone asked if dinosaurs barked. And I actually know a really cool thing that Park Ranger Marty has shared with us, which is that we do know at least one of the sounds that a certain dinosaur made, and it's that dinosaur right there. Does anyone know what kind of dinosaur that is? Yell it out if you know.
I want to see the
Yell it out, guys. I heard her. She said Parasaurolophus. Good job, guys. Parasaurolophus. Now, that long thing that goes back on their head actually had passageways, kind of like little tunnels, that went all the way up to their nasal passages in the front of their face. Now, we know that they could actually blow air through those nasal passages, and it would send it back into that crest and send out a very low resonant sound, kind of like a long distance phone call. But you could actually hear it, and they maybe used it for mating or for calling the herd, migrating, anything like that. But because we can actually put air through those passageways, we know what sound it makes. And I think it sits around B flat, but the noise would sound something like, ah, which is very good. But I think it would be a lot better, if we heard someone else. I thought it would be a lot better if we hear someone else do it too. Like maybe Park Ranger Marty. Come on, guys. Come on, help me say Marty. 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 Come on, Marty.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good job, Marty.
She always does that. She always makes me make embarrassing sounds. So, well, I hope you guys have had a fun time learning about dinosaurs and getting your questions answered. Now, if you have more questions, like they said, on Facebook, we have our Fossil Friday, Science Sunday, What's It Wednesday with Prehistoric Nick, and you can learn a lot about. But if you have really tough dinosaur questions, you can text them directly to me on our show days, which are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Dino 411. And 844 Dino 411 goes right to me, and I can answer your dinosaur questions.
All right, well, just a reminder for everybody then, all our parents out there, if you want to sign up your children for our other sessions, which our next one is Dino Show and Tell, and then after that, we'll have Dino Bedtime Stories. Make sure you sign up now, because we'll be closing registration an hour before those sessions begin, and we don't want you to miss out on any of the free fun with us. Just a reminder and recap also that you can go online to JurassicQuest.com/Fossil Day, and you can find coloring sheets and all kinds of cool stuff on there for free that are activities. You can even find the link for our dinosaur herd. So you can actually see all the dinosaurs that we had at Jurassic Quest. On top of that, we have our discount, which is Fossil Day. And parents, if you buy tickets today for any upcoming cities, you can use the code Fossil Day to get 25% off. And there's so many more cool things coming to you today. We're super excited to show you guys all that. And would anyone else like to add anything before we sign off?
I would.
For Dino Show and Tell. Oh, sorry, for Dino Show and Tell, which is coming up next in a few hours. Make sure you have your dinosaur toys, all your dinosaur memorabilia, because we want to see what you guys have, and maybe we can tell you something you didn't know about those dinosaurs. So we look forward to seeing you there. Dino Dustin, you had something to say?
Yes, before we say goodbye, I also want to remind you guys, if you guys like music, if you didn't know, we have a theme song. Jurassic Quest has a theme song. So check that out at our website, JurassicQuest.com. When you're looking at all of our other activities and our shows, check out our music as well by our famous Joe Johnson, Jurassic Joe Johnson.
I love that. And
Awesome.
maybe I can get this song on right now. We're going to see if we can do this.
Okay.
Because I definitely want to listen to Jurassic Quest.
Oh, I love Jurassic.
The theme is inside the chat too, guys. So if you look inside our chat, you can get that theme song and listen to it on YouTube. And it's a pretty fun song. It brings joy to me and all of our dinosaurs.
All right, there you go. All righty, everybody. We can't wait to see you in our next session. Bye.
Jurassic Quest.